Right, thank you very much for coming. I mean, I have questions, but anybody want to? Okay. Thank you. I know you testified in your 3 minutes at the hearing on Wednesday, and you had a list of long list of pediatricians on the island who shared your concerns. And I think it was based on the American Academy of Pediatrics report. So if you would take a moment and explain your concerns, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come late.
And if you could speak loudly, please, also.
Okay. So the American Academy of Pediatrics is a body that most of the board-certified pediatricians in America belong to. And they put out policy statements on everything that touches the lives of the children we take care of. Anything from immunizations to seat belts to any issue that's a pediatric issue. And they convene expert panels, basically, on each of these subjects to give us their opinions. And of interest to me is November of 2012, they came out with the first policy statement that I had seen on pesticides. It was 29 pages approximately, extremely difficult to wade through because it was mainly studies. And basically what they were saying is that the evidence is increasingly emerging about chronic health implications from both acute and chronic exposure. A growing body of epidemiologic evidence demonstrates associations between parental use of pesticides, particularly insecticides, and then on and on to leukemias and so on. What they are trying to tell us is that there is this growing body of evidence that we really weren't aware of before, and that the research is pointing more and more, and they went disease line by disease line, tumors, neurobehavioral, endocrinologic problems, that in all of these realms the evidence is growing that pesticides is playing a role. And the risk factors, which is, in my mind, I'm speaking to the blue shirts and the red shirts, the risk factors are exposure to children from home use, and so they're telling us pediatricians, talk to your families about using insecticides in the house, outside yard use, using Roundup and so on in the grass. And in the particular high-risk category is the children of the people that spray pesticides. And that data is growing at a consistent rate, essentially. That occupational exposures, maternal and paternal, appear to be in the largest risk category. And I think that's a very important point. We have on both sides of this issue people who are involved in spraying this, and the risk is to their children. And I don't think these reports don't necessarily tell us how the risk is there. You know, is it from their clothing? Is it on their body? They're just bringing together the evidence, essentially, that the children of people who spray pesticides are at greater risk than those who don't spray pesticides, both if their mothers or fathers are sprayers. So I thought that was of interest. And then just one other piece of this. They're talking about what should the pediatricians do about this. And this is all fairly new for us. We have mandates about what we speak about when we see people for well baby visits. And I've never actually seen a mandate about pesticides before. And they have now placed it into our lap, basically, that we should be talking about spraying in the house. And they say, although there are no federal mandates for notification of pesticide use in communities, many states, locales, or schools have implemented requirements for posting warning signs or developing registries to alert individuals of planned pesticide applications, see Table 3. These are designed to allow the public to make decisions to avoid exposures during application or soon after from residues. Other local policies that have been developed include restricting spray zones that create buffers from schools or other areas or restrict specific types of pesticide products in schools. And they're not talking just about the heavy pesticide use around the school. They're actually talking about Roundup and other products in the school grounds. They're asking us to use what they call integrated pest management systems in the schools. This is a big step in the way pediatricians have looked at this. I mean, an analogy is I'm now anti-juice because juice makes people fat. I gave my kids, they grew up on POG. We didn't know these things, and these pieces of evidence come to us one by one, and it's our responsibility to listen to them, use our instincts, and make a difference. And so they are, just 7 months ago, saying pediatricians of the world, and when I say pediatricians of the world, although this is the American Academy of Pediatrics, it actually sets the policy that's set in America is the policy that goes out to the world. So this body carries a lot of weight. And they're basically saying to the pediatricians of the world, pay attention to this. These are dangerous substances, dangerous enough that they're even dangerous in your houses. Particularly be concerned about agricultural uses. And one of the pieces in this is an increasing concern that the agricultural uses is even going to have more statistics that are worrisome to us.
If I could ask a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for coming back and sharing that. You know, we've heard a lot of very compelling testimony from mothers and fathers who talk about, you know, we work in the fields every day, I'm pregnant, you know, and I was in the fields, and I have children, and they're all okay, and when I was little, I used to run behind the DDT, Smokey Joe, and look at me, I'm okay. And you're saying, though, what are you saying? I mean, how do you relate that to the information that the American Academy of Pediatrics is now saying?
Well, they've gone disease by disease here, and they have shown, you have to take fairly large populations to show a difference. And they are taking the studies that they have, and they're showing that there are increase in leukemias, increase in brain tumors, increase in behavioral difficulties in children that have been exposed either prenatally or postnatally. You know, behavioral issues are hard to quantify. We have behavioral issues in a lot of kids who are sprayed and not sprayed. So you have to put data together to actually know, is it more in the children that had parents that were sprayers than or spraying near your house or whatever. So it takes aggregates of data, and one of the things I would beg the council to make sure happens is that we start collecting Kauai data. We should know cancer by zip code. We should know deformities, so cleft palates and so on. They go to a certain clinic on Oahu. That data is all there, and it would be relatively easy for us to put that together zip code by zip code, and we should have the data, essentially. There's no reason in a small place like this that we can't.
Well, thank you. Other questions? Yes.